Hello. In the first video, by using our diagrams, we found the following pattern of divisions, didn't we? That 1 divided by a half was 2, 1 divided by a third was 3, 1 divided by a quarter was 4. So, look at that a sec and think what's happening with the pattern. That's right. The 2 in the denominators come up here to be the whole number. 3 in the denominators come up here, and the 4 in the denominators come up there. That only tells us half of what we learnt in the last video. Second part, 1 divided by 2/3 gave us 3 over 2. 1 divided by 3/4 gave us 4/3. And 1 divided by 4 over 5 gave us 5/4. So what's going on here? That's right. The 2 in the numerator moved to be a 2 in the denominator, and the 3 in the denominator moved to be a 3 in the numerator. And that's true all the way down, isn't it? That the top number became the bottom number, bottom, top. Top, bottom, bottom, top. So we've got a method here, haven't we? That 1 divided by 2/3 is going to be 3 over 2. 1 divided by 3/4 is going to be 4 over 3. All we need to do is to take this fraction here on the left and flip it over. Flip it over to get the ones on the right. Now these are flipped over fractions, by the way, are called reciprocals. So the reciprocal 2/3 is 3 over 2. Reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. Reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4. But they give us the answers, don't they? Now I'd like you to have a look at this pattern. 1 divided by 2/3 are these pairs, and 1 times 3 over 2. What's true of the first two? Well, they've both got the same answer, 3 over 2, haven't they? 1 divided by 2/3 gives the same answer as 1 divided by 3 over 2. Have a look on the right hand side here. 1 divided by 3/4 is 4/3. It's the same as the answer to 1 times 4/3, isn't it? And in the final set of pairs, 1 divided by 4/5 is the same answer as 1 divided by 1 times 5/4. There we go. So that gives us a fairly quick way of doing division by fractions, in that 1 divided by 2/3 is going to give the same answer as 1 times 3 over 2. Now that's written out here below it, that if I want to divide a fraction here, divide by a fraction, 1 divided by a over b, I'm going to get the same answer as if I had 1 times b over a, where b over a is the reciprocal of a over b. Now this is often called keep, change, flip, because we kept the 1 unchanged. We changed the multiplication, so division to a multiplication, and we flipped the fraction from a over b to b over a. So it's called keep, change, flip. So let's see if that works for one fraction multiplying or dividing another. 1/2 divided by 1/4. So we're counting in quarters. The question is, how many quarters in a half? Well, there's a quarter. I've put my scale as quarters here because we're looking in dividing by quarters. There's 1/4, there's 1/2. How many quarters? That's just how many quarters in a half? Well, it's 1, 2, isn't it? 1/4, 2/4. So the answer is 2. Does keep, change, flip work? Let's have a look. We keep the half. We change the division to a multiplication. We flip the quarter to be 4 over 1. Let's do the multiplication out now. Fractions, 1 times 4 is 4 as the numerator. 2 times 1 is 2 as the denominator. 4 divided by 2 is simplifies to 2. So that gave us the right answer, didn't it? So have a look at another one. 3/4 divided by 2/3. So what's that saying? Well, we're counting in 2/3, and the question is, how many 2/3 are there in 3/4? So on my diagram here, I've got my thirds. Yeah, 1/3 and 2/3. 3/3, that'll be 4/3 there, won't it? Okay, excuse me. And I've also got a smaller scale here. Each one of these is 1/12 because that's a 4 and a 3. If we were looking for a common denominator, we'd be working in 1/12, wouldn't we, for 4/4 and thirds. So let's see what our answer to this one is. How many 2/3 in 3/4? Well, here is 1 whole 2/3, which we know is going to be, that's 8/12 as an equivalent fraction, isn't it? Now 3/4 is 9/12, there it is there. 3/4 is 9/12. Okay, so I need to get another one here, don't I? So, but let's have a look at this. That's one part out of, what if we look at the whole 2/3? That would be 8, wouldn't it? That's one part out of 8. So I've got 1 whole here plus an 1/8 of a 2/3. So 1 whole plus an 1/8, which if we write as an improper fraction is 9/8, isn't it? Does keep change flip work? Well, we keep the 3/4. We change the division for a multiplication. We flip 2/3 to get 3/2. Now I can do my simple multiplication. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 2 is 8. So the answer here is 9/8. So yes, it does work. So there you go. Here's your summary. Keep, change, flip. If I want to work out what 5/7 divided by 2/3 is, well, that's the same as 5/7 is kept. Change the division to a multiplication, flip the 2/3 to 3/2, and we get our answer quickly, 15/14. And this is true for any values that we put in here. So I've written that down the bottom here in a more general approach. P/Q divided by fraction A/B is always equal to P/Q times the flipped fraction, the reciprocal B/A. So there you have it. Write it down and use it in the future.